Absolutely wonderful today. Welcome to our webinar presentation. We're going to be going over Maximizer CRM 12 2013, and we're super excited just to show you exactly what we've been working on. Time is short. There's no reason to carry this on any longer than needs to be. Let's get started. I'm going to introduce our presenters. First one, John Easton. He's our Director of Product Management and Strategic Relations. And rather than just reading that out to you, because I know you can, just suffice it to say, John is the person who interacts with our customers back and forth, and he takes your input and turns it into our product. Other person we're going to have with us, who's sitting right beside me at the moment, is Peter Nielsen. He's our Senior Product Manager. Peter has quite the background within product management, and we're really excited to have him as a part of the team here. And finally, I'm your host. My name is Justin King. I'm a marketing coordinator here at Maximizer. Let's talk a little bit about some of the improvements in the new version. Peter?
Thank you very much, Justin. So let's try and get into some of the more specifics here. First one we want to look at is the improvements we've done to key fields and custom fields. We recognize that our customers are keeping track on a lot of data, and that data may only be relevant under certain circumstances. So what we put up here is an ability to kind of put in mandatory rules to display UDFs. So one user case for that, for example, would be that you check with your customers, do they have a certain version of the software? If they don't, well then you don't show more fields related to that. However, if they do, you can basically start triggering off a lot of fields that is like version number, last update, payment, etc., etc. So suddenly you can start filtering out that information that you're showing through your key fields, depending on just some mandatory rules for displaying these UDFs. So it would vastly cut down on the amount of information that's on your screen and only sort of focus in on what's actually really important at the moment. Another area for improvements under the key fields is the ability to support URL web links. So now, for example, for individual contacts, you can start putting in web links that goes directly to their own Facebook page, their own home page, Twitter pages, etc., and have an easier way of following their activities in a social media side. There could also be other sort of specific web links for a unique customer that you want to track, and this is like a great way of setting it up. And again, this is all through UDFs and key fields. Additionally, we've been setting up some handling for currencies in key fields as well, in UDFs and key fields. So it's no longer just displaying actually just a numeric value, but you can actually say, I want this to show for example, $, euros, pound, whatever else has been set up in either your local settings on your machine, or it could be configured through the administrator module as well under your multi-currency setting there too. So now you can actually relate to fields, the way they're supposed to be viewed, which could be, currency as well. A big thing for us has been improvement insights of searches. As customers' databases are getting, proportionally larger and larger, the search functionality is becoming extremely important. And as we're seeing with a lot of customization, being able to have kind of variable, pre-done searches is getting very important. So what we set up here is actually an ability to create a custom search that is looking for some specific values. Here you can choose your lead source, your lead status, or your primary interest, but each of these ones are customizable every time you run the search itself. So you're actually not kind of forced down the line where you have to do a unique search for each, but you can do like a bigger category search where you then have a few fields that you switch on and off depending on the exact specific information that you're looking for. A couple of other things, insights of searches as well, is the ability to search on a wider extent of rolling date ranges. We already had some of that in the past, but we have expanded it with many more different date ranges as well. Searching on an event that is going on 180 days from now, or that did go on 180 days in the past, and so on and so forth. On the date side as well, another popular feature that we put in is the ability to actually search on a date range, but ignore the year itself. which is a great way of honing in on things like anniversaries, birthdays, etc., etc. You want to see what's upcoming among your client base for the next month or so. You can search basically on all of these and then ignore the year. And of course, all of these things, as illustrated in the drawing here, can be stored as quick access searches as well. So you define it, in the background, and then you set it up so you have all access to it with just one click of the mouse. So lots of good improvements on the search side there. Digging a little bit deeper into some of the specific features. This is another one that's been requested quite a bit. It has to do with working with other contacts than the one that is particularly selected at the moment. So let's say you're working with, for example, the sales manager on a company, and he's of course related to a bunch of other people within his company. One could be the technical director. And during that conversation with him, you now need to set up a meeting directly with the technical representative. So you basically select him under contacts, or related entries, if that was the case, and you can now right-click down there and then schedule immediately phone calls, write emails, tasks, etc. with that particular contact, even though he may not be the one that is actually selected. So a vast improvement on the functionality of working with associated contacts, and something that's going to speed up things quite a bit. Moving over to the mobility side of things. We're constantly working on ways to make sure that we're keeping the amount of clicks and types down on the mobility side, so things becomes really easy and efficient to work with. For example, now we've set in an option here so you can start up in a specific favorite list, in a specific search, with specific companies basically already filtered, at the go. So you're no longer in a situation where you actually, start up Maximizer on the mobile side, and then you have to go in and start searching for specific contacts. Now it will basically default to the focus you will have from the mobile side of things. Another one that came important on the mobile side is the ability to schedule very easily depending on other contacts' free time. So the functionality here is basically you go in, you select the different contacts you're usually having meetings with, so that you're kind of tracking what is their free time. And then there is an option in there by one button press to basically say, show me free times, and you then click on and off these pre-selected contacts, and you'll basically have a day view on the calendar that shows, okay, what times do I have available free time, and what times does this other person have available free time, and so I know exactly when to schedule events without avoiding any double booking. So it makes calendar appointments from the mobile side, much easier. Likewise, on the mobile side, we've improved the actual search side as well, so that anything you previously searched for will actually be remembered now, so you don't have to retype all of these entries. So in this example here, if you already search for Capital or Colonial, every time you just click in the C button, you'll have those predefined searches coming out as well. So again, it cuts down a lot on the actual typing when you're on the mobile side of things. And then lastly but not least, on the mobile side, we've also added in a slide menu here that, again, we just by one button press gives you access to some of the absolute key functionality. In this case here, it's searches that are coming up, but also the ability to add companies and add individuals. If you are inside of working with a company, the same menu will actually show how you can add in a contact as well. So it's one of these areas where just by one click of the mouse, you actually get access to a lot of functionality, or one click on the screen, I should say. Some other simple functionality that's associated with that is when you, for example, have a contact open, you can basically swipe across the contact, and you'll get the ability to either email or phone the person right away. And then again, just with with one press on the screen, you can phone the contact directly. So a lot of effort is put into making the mobile, the tablet version, very easy and efficient to work with. Changing gear a little bit, we've also been continuing to move in on the customization side of what we can do with Maximizer. The example here is a following window that is set up with like a custom web service. In this case here, what we've done is that our own accounting group have basically shared with, for example, our sales team, what are some of the key accounting activities that are going on with a specific contact or clients. So here, without allowing the sales team, for example, access to the entire accounting system, they can still go in and then see key data that is associated to their, client, relationship. Setting it up as an accounting tab is just one use case for it, and that can be, many different, and the whole thing is basically run via a custom web service. So it does take a little bit of developer, time to integrate this, but it'll have some amazing benefits in the future. Other areas that we've looked in very heavily, which is sort of tying on for the integration side I started on before, is our focus on vertical templates. The very first initiative we have there is the Wealth Management Edition, where we basically take in the semi-standard, CRM Live option, and then started to modify it with, what has come into the range of hundreds of UDFs and key fields that are tracking all kinds of data that is relevant to wealth management. It could be anything related to the accounts you have, insurances that the client have, mortgages, the entire financial picture of any of their clients will basically be able to be tracked through this. Other key areas that is of extreme importance for the wealth management side is compliance issues like KYC, which stands for Know Your Client. So you all may be familiar with that at some level as well. When you meet up with a wealth management team, some of the questions they will ask is, are you a public director of another company? What is your experience with investments, et cetera, et cetera. All of these are compliance questions that they need to keep strict control of and have to update on a very regular basis. So again, Maximizer is a perfect platform for this, and especially with all the customization we've done here, we make it really, really easy for wealth management professional to start using a system like this. Some of the specific functionality here, I spoke about the KYC, is for example the coloring rule to highlight, what are there any KYCs that are upcoming that we need to handle? But it could be associated with anything that we've customized in there, including, the action plans, potential web forms, and save searches, dashboards, etc. So there's a whole host of content there that we've been customizing. And then finally, on the customization side, we're also pushing to set up the Maximizer Developer Connect, which is basically a developer forum where we'll share tips and tricks directly with the developing community out there in terms of how can they do their own customization. These developers could either be in-house with any clients, they could be third-party vendors, they could be associated with our partners, etc., etc. But we're basically setting up a way there of supporting the community to create these levels of customization so that everybody can benefit from it.
Very good. Thanks a lot, Peter. So it looks like a lot of the improvements in this version, it's about productivity enhancements as well as some key things that we're doing with the financial template as well as Developer Connect. Is that about right?
That's very much the right, yeah.
John, pass things back over to you here.
Yes, nice, very good. Thank you very much, Peter. That was a good synopsis of a lot of the great features that we put in. I want to confirm that my microphone is at a more appropriate volume. Can you hear me better now?
I definitely can. Let's hope the chat agrees.
All right. Thank you very much. So one of the things that we haven't mentioned so far that is new to our summer release is a relationship and a partnership that's been signed between Maximizer and the marketing automation solution HubSpot. This is a really, really big announcement for Maximizer and something that's been sought after by a good number of our customers for quite some time. HubSpot is an amazing product. It allows you to do so much when it comes to interacting with your clients through the web and tracking their interaction through the web back to you. And if you look at the slide that I'm showing you right now, you can see that, you know, Maximizer sends great emails. Maximizer has a component of marketing automation where we can keep track of the emails that we send and who opens those emails and which links they click on inside those emails. But that's really where most CRMs kind of take it to. Products like HubSpot, and in particular HubSpot, really take the marketing and the online marketing aspect of what organizations are trying to do with their clients through email and bringing them back to the web and really making that quite a sophisticated and trackable activity for the marketing teams. You're seeing the type of functions that a product like HubSpot can perform for an organization, you know, optimizing your search engine, assisting you with your blogging software, in general managing your social media, working with your landing pages, working your calls to action. The marketing automation is the sending out of the emails and the tracking of what goes on when those emails are open. But the most important aspect of what HubSpot really brings, I think, to our clients is the ability for the next step to be observed, which is when they come to my website, what's happening and what are they doing. And HubSpot plugs into your web pages, and it keeps track of the movements of the visitors to your website. And you're looking at a HubSpot contact that's been created. There's several ways to have that contact created, but once they're created, HubSpot's going to track their activities, and it's going to keep track of them for you. Now, what we've done with Maximizer is we've created an integration between HubSpot and Maximizer, and we're now moving information that was stored solely in HubSpot and moving it into Maximizer. So in this example, Justin King came to the website for the first time 3 months ago, and the last time he was there was 14 days ago. And the last thing he did was he submitted a form, and right now in his life cycle stage in the HubSpot world and potentially in your Maximizer world, he's being treated like a lead. I go into Maximizer, and I can see very similar information now that we're synchronizing into Maximizer. I can see the first time he converted, which means the first time he clicked on a page or made his information available to us through a form was April 18th. I can see what the first thing he did. He came and he wanted to see one of our demonstrations. I can see that as late as June 24th he came, and he came to a webinar, and he specifically looked at content around HubSpot in this particular case. What I can also see is how many times he's interacted with our website in one way, shape, or form or another, and that's 20 times. And that is a lot of information that we weren't getting, no one was getting not that long ago. Further drilling into that information, I showed it to you first in our key fields. Now I'm showing it to you out in the user-defined fields to show you that we've built out not only key field area of Maximizer, but also the user-defined field structure around all the information that we're capturing. And you can see that there's some technical information here. Clicking ahead to the next screen, I've got a call-out called the profile URL. The profile URL is inside Maximizer, and when you click on it, it's going to take you back to HubSpot for this particular record, and it's going to give you an in-depth view into all their activities from a moment-by-moment basis on your website. So again, now I'm looking at Justin's every interaction of him from day one, and it shows the contact us. We did something on July 8th. You can see we dropped down to, you know, at 8:34, excuse me, which pages he's going on, what he's reading. And you think this maybe is a little bit big brother-ish, but from the businesses that we've talked to that have used HubSpot, they say their salespeople will absolutely swear by the kind of information they're getting related to a lead based on the activity on their website. So if in my case, if I had time to make 3 phone calls, and if I could go in and look at 10 people that I had an opportunity with in my system, and I could see which ones have been to my website in the last week, and I could see how long they'd been there and what they were looking at, those are the people that I'm going to phone first because they've shown a lot of interest in my business. They're on our website for a reason, right, as compared to the person who's not on my website right now. So if I have to pick who I can call, I know who I'm phoning, and that's what HubSpot is allowing the sales team to know and be confident about when they're reaching out to customers that or leads, if you will, by knowing their actions and their interest level in the products and services that particular company is offering. So this has been a great relationship that Maximizer has undertaken with HubSpot. It's been very well received by the first couple of customers that were very interested in working with us to build this. As you can see, it's built on our latest release or one release back. So if you're on our winter 2012 or our current release, you do have to have an account with HubSpot, of course, to work with the HubSpot functionality. And from our standpoint, it's a very quick and easy configuration. There's a small installation configuration that's required, and we charge $100 a month for that. But this has been something that we've been really waiting to deliver, and it is a big announcement for us.
John, I'm just going to step in here real quick, if you don't mind, with a couple of insights on that. First of all, as a part of the marketing team here at Maximizer, HubSpot has been an absolutely instrumental part of kind of what I do on a day-to-day basis, and I have greatly appreciated it. I know our sales team has kind of appreciated how the information gets passed over to them. Basically, the big problem between sales and marketing is that giant wall, and with this connector in place, it kind of knocks that down a little bit. John, I did get a question from Jordan regarding the HubSpot, from Jason regarding the HubSpot integration. He just wants to know exactly how the information is kind of retrieved. Can you just give like a 10-second overview of how exactly that connector works?
Absolutely. So the information is being tracked in HubSpot. So all the actions that take place are let me back up a little bit. When you work with HubSpot, HubSpot's going to put a little piece of information on every single one of your websites, and it's going to allow cookie-based technology to keep track of the movements of each person or visitor to your website. As that information is being tracked, it's going to be stored in a HubSpot database. And at the moment that, and of course it's tracking on the IP address of the person that's coming to that website. And once that person has identified themselves in some way, shape, or form, and generally that's by filling out a form, all that cookie tracking information that was going on is now directly correlated to a person who's given you information. So now you have a record in HubSpot that's not just a bunch of movements, but it's movements tied to a particular record. And now HubSpot keeps track of that. With Maximizer and our integration, we give you the ability to say, at a certain point in time, depending, and I'm going to give scores against each action that a person takes on a website. So filling out a form might be a score of 20. Filling out a survey might be a score of 10. I set thresholds, and once a threshold has been reached, the entire profile of information at that moment will be synchronized into Maximizer, but not until. So you don't want every visitor in your website to become somebody in Maximizer. You want them to be somewhat qualified, or as much maybe as possible to be qualified before they even get alerted and put into the Maximizer system. Once they're moved into the Maximizer system, a task is created, and it's assigned to, we do a territory match, so we do an account manager match on that new lead, and this is all part of the customization and integration that our connector contains therein. So this lead is then assigned to the correct account manager, and the account manager receives a task notifying them that a lead has been assigned to them. The task then, the account manager then is going to open that task. He's going to click on it. It's going to take him to the record, and the first thing he's going to do is he's going to go look at the HubSpot profile of this new lead that's just been assigned to him. And that's sort of the full circle process. And in what Justin was saying about how happy sales are to be receiving leads from marketing today, it's a whole new world for our salespeople because they're now learning so much about the customer and in an honest way before ever interacting with that customer or lead, as the case may be. And that really helps everyone inside the sales organization spend their time the most efficient way they can.
It's golden, and all the leads that come back are qualified into Maximizer.
Precisely. Yeah, no, that's a great question. Thank you for asking me to go in a little bit deeper on it. We'd be happy to spend more time, and I know there's a couple more questions in the chat about this, but let's get through the rest of the slides, and we'll save a little more time at the end for this and some of the other questions. I've just got a couple slides here to remind some of you that are not on our latest version or one version back that, in keeping with what I'd said at the beginning of my slides, we've spent, a lot of time optimizing our mobile experience, in particular for the iPad. We have continued to build up the dashboards. We added an entire new feature called Customer Timeline, which is a combination of the Notes view and the Documents view in a single kind of Facebook-like chronological view. We built out our web form capability quite substantially now so that you can build web forms and have the information that's completed on that web form automatically be inserted or updating a record in Maximizer. And of course, we've continued to add more reports. Just last winter, we built out the search. Justin showed you a search that I really, really like, or excuse me, Peter did earlier today, which is remember what I searched for a minute ago or a day ago or 3 days ago. I really like that, especially on the mobile. What led to that feature was just full name search, which we didn't have previously as well, which was search for John Easton, don't search on all the Eastons. We made a lot of changes to the address book, and I'm sure some of you saw that in some of Peter's screenshots today. Everywhere we have an address, you click on an address, we pop Google Maps and we take you directly to that address. And that's in the email reminders, that's in the main dialogues, that's in mobility. Everywhere you see an address in Maximizer now, it's clickable and takes you to the map. The quick access to the search is a little toolbar area that we've added above our icon bar that allows you to put your favorite or saved searches on a toolbar, so no matter where you are in Maximizer, you can go to that toolbar, click on it, and be taken to that list. So you could have been in the address book, and here's a list of my leads, or you could have been in the calendar, click once, here's a list of all my clients. Just examples of speeding up the way you can get around Maximizer and get at your your information. And then the last point is the Outlook integration that we've really continued to build out and are very proud of, adding cases, clicking directly on an email, or selecting an email and going directly to the address book entry. These are all features that we were really happy to put in Outlook in our last release. So Justin, I think I'm passing it back to you now.
Yep, or you can just hold on to it because it will come right back to you in terms of control. But guys, just in that last poll, what CRM challenges are you facing at the moment? It's so interesting that, Peter, you talk so much about productivity, and that's where we wanted things to go, because the most popular response was actually we need our users to be more productive, which is fantastic. To me, that says, well, we're moving in a great direction, and I'm glad that we put our focus on this for summer release. I'm just going to hit this pull here, open her up, and head on over to you again, John.
So I've just got a couple more slides, and then we've got our time for questions at the end here. This slide is really meant to show, Maximizer is more than a vendor. Maximizer can be your advisor, and Maximizer's business partners and our professional services team can really, really help you in the long-term work with your CRM solutions. Start a new project, we start on the far left-hand side, and we have the ability to go as deep as you want, moving to the right-hand side, or as shallow as you want. But this slide really illustrates all the different components that our professional services team and our business partners have to offer you when it comes to, first initially thinking about a CRM, building out that vision, deploying it, doing your training, following up in 6 to 12 months, adding new processes, refining it, and continuing on, and continuing to do that over a life cycle. A CRM implementation is more than just a one moment in time. This second slide is really another example of the kinds of additional work that ourselves and our partners are being asked, and we are able to handle, and I think it's really important. And again, if we sort of start in the middle there under implement, and it says, I need Maximizer experts to lead the effort and let me participate. That's kind of a starting point. And as you move to the left, customers are saying to us, I don't want very much involvement as well. Just get it done and import my data, get me set up, and take me all the way out to the far left and get me trained. The other side is also, I've been using my CRM for a while, moving to the right of that blue box, but my system's either slowing down, maybe that's a hardware issue. My processes aren't being followed, maybe that's an enforcement issue, maybe that's a training issue, maybe that's just a case of, geez, if we just had some mandatory fields, people would use the system a little bit differently. But what this slide is really meant to illustrate is that we understand that, with the variety of customers we have and the great variety that we've had for many, many years, ourselves and our partners have developed a lot of expertise in all of your businesses. And we can help you. We can help you. We know what your competitors are doing with our CRM products. We know what your competitors are doing as best practices. And this isn't about cheating and telling on each other. And, of course, we respect everyone's non-disclosure agreement. But as everyone who knows who's listening to this webinar today, if you're not using a CRM, you are losing in a huge way to every other business that is. But if you're not fully utilizing the CRM, you're also losing out to the businesses that are. So by speaking with us and speaking with our partners, we can help you take it broader into your organization. Maybe you're just using it for sales, but not marketing and not service. Maybe you don't have any dashboards up, which means you have no indicators that are telling you in a forward-thinking way what's been happening in your business and what you need to be planning for. There's always areas for improvement, but everyone is so busy in their day-to-day activities, it's very difficult for them to sit back and look at their processes sometimes, and that's where we can really help you. So I just wanted to put that out there as well. Where are we going? Where is Maximizer going as your vendor and as a company? You heard Peter talk a little bit around our vertical solutions. We are paying attention to some very particular markets, but we're also paying attention to all of our customers that are saying, we need better Outlook integration, we need better web access, we need better mobility in general, we need types of fields such as the ones that Peter mentioned earlier today, such as I need a URL, I need a user-defined field that I can just click on it and it takes me to a web page. So that's an example of it came right from the customers and we did it. Secure web deployments are becoming more and more popular in conversations in our office. We have clients that are saying, I want to take my Maximizer outside of my office. I don't want to put it in a big public data center. I need it to be in Canada. I need it to be someplace where I can have control over it. I need it to be someplace maybe I want to integrate with it. So we're starting to investigate those types of solutions, and we are delivering some of those to our clients. But we want to always continue to strive to be a very much best-of-breed SMB business application. The integrations that Peter mentioned as well today are really a step forward in that direction for us, and we're going to continue to work on that. As I said, I can't think of very many customers who have said to me, gee, I really don't want to see my accounting information inside Maximizer. I want my salesperson to ship that next tractor having no idea whether that customer paid for the last one. Right, well, obviously that's not true. Those are very, very simple integrations now with Maximizer. And as Peter was pointing out, instead of deploying a workstation or an accounting workstation across the entire organization, you don't have to. You can deploy a simple tab, a simple integration that's giving you read-only information to maybe it's inventory, maybe it's accounting, maybe it's shipping information, or some other information that you're storing that's required in your business process. All of that's very simple to do with Maximizer, and we're paying attention to that, and we believe that's going to help us be a best-of-breed. My friend Justin.
All right, so when it comes to upgrading, guys, there's kind of, I guess, two different paths to go down. If you're on Max Advantage, then the best way is to just visit the support center, and you can just grab it directly from there. If you're on Group or Enterprise, or if you're one of our entrepreneur customers, please send us an email to sales@maximizer.com, and we'll make sure that we get you sorted without any problem whatsoever. So sales@maximizer.com, that'll be the email to hit, or head to the support center, which you can pretty easily find. It's at the top of our website, maximizer.com, if you're on Max Advantage.